Hello, good evening. I'm Oral Gibbs, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. With me this evening, I have Mr. Ralph Kenta. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, Oral. Thank you for having me on the program.
Is everything all right?
All is well.
So, no,
Good to be back.
it's good to have you here. You're doing so many things. It's unbelievable. You're a writer. I can't even list on your name all the things you're doing.
Well, it's good that you mentioned that. I have a friend of mine who likes to tease me and say, I never know whether or not you're on the island with all the traveling and so forth. But I guess, it's a matter of, being involved and, living a life of purpose, and just put it like that.
So you surround yourself with people with a little knowledge, right?
Yes, I try my best to surround myself with knowledgeable people, especially, older people, because one thing I advocate for, especially for us young people, is to have mentors. It doesn't necessarily have to be a PhD graduate, as I told you before, but, someone who has lived life, able to correct you and, give you necessary advices that you probably won't get at school, at home, etc.
It's amazing, because I always tell people in this business where I am right now, you'll be amazed what I've learned from people that didn't even have a high school diploma. Life is so strange. It all depends on really what you're looking for, but it's amazing. So you can learn from the PhD to the guy that's just there cleaning the street.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's your latest these days? What are you
My latest would be this right here. Thanking God for this.
Hold it up again. Okay, this is your first book?
Yes, my first book, Words of Change, Voices from Swahilian Soil. It was a 2-year process, but it's finally finished, and I'll be launching in 2 weeks. August 14th will be the launching date, and so basically that's my focus for the moment.
So, Words of Change. Tell me about it.
Well, the book
Without giving us too much about the book.
The book is a collection of my best work as a writer from ever since I started writing with Teen Times six years ago. And it's basically a collection of pieces on youth empowerment, cultural preservation, cultural heritage, and our political atmosphere as well, or politics. So youth, culture, and politics, basically. And it's a 2-part book, so one part of the book, it's basically opinionated, giving a youth view on these topics, whereas the second part of the book is actually factual, meaning I actually did research on it, and I have the citations here, so from the magazines and newspapers, the videos or books that I got information from, everything is listed. And at the end of the day, it's, for me, it's a call to action.
Okay.
As I like to say, because at the end of the day, I wrote it at a period where I was greatly dissatisfied with the path that Simano was going, that Simano was on, and I saw the need for me to use at least the time that God gave me to be able to try to make a change, while writing, but also through my actions as well.
So what was it that had you so disturbed?
What disturbed me, I would say, was the fall of the government, but the one before, the one that fell in September last year.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. A lot of people was first.
Yeah, I was like, come on.
You wasn't alone, believe me.
And the thing is, when it came to writing this book, I remember last year, February, I left my job. And I did it because I told myself that, I really wanted to get this out, and I needed the time to research as well as to, research and write. And I was having difficulties because I was working and I was going to school, so, there was limited time.
Difficult.
And what I did basically was on my off days, I would schedule interviews with some of the elders on the island to go about interviewing them, or either just plan days that I can go to the library or to the museum and get the necessary information that I needed.
So, Words of Change is your first book, and you have any plans to write anymore?
Oh, definitely. You see, the thing is, this wasn't my initial idea for the book. My first idea was to basically write about the stories of the elders who I've interviewed, or as well as writing biographies on people who played a major role in Simán history. And then from there, I went on to actually starting to research on writing the entire history of St. Martin. But once again, because of time constraints and so forth, I had reached at a low point where I was like, I really want to get this out, and I'm having so much difficulty. So I decided to take a route that many great writers or scholars take, in which they usually just publish their work, their collection, make a collection of their work. And I went with that idea and made it Words of Change, because it also shows my growth as a writer, and how much my level of thinking also has grown.
So do you write every day?
I don't write every day, but I think a lot every day. And as a writer, sometimes you basically get inspired just from walking in the street or sitting in a bus, at a bar, etc.
So now a lot of young people on St. Martin, they don't know what they want to do. Was it difficult for you?
I wouldn't say it was difficult for me, thankfully, because I discovered my passion quite young, basically 15, 16, when it came to writing, but also my love for history and politics, that was established from young. And basically, I just built off of it and took it to another level. So, one of the things I did also, apart from writing, was, trying to be involved in the community, either with, for example, being part of the St. Martin Book Fair, being a UNESCO representative, being able to travel on behalf of the island and so forth.
Now, you've written this book, Words of Change. You're going to launch it in about, you said the 14th of August?
That's basically 2 weeks. The launching will be at Soil, Source of Inspiration Learning. That's actually Rhoda's business now, which is basically like a youth cafe. It's located before the St. Martin Academy. There was a restaurant there before Blue Flames.
Before St. Martin Academy?
Yeah.
Is that on the right side of L.B. Scott Road when you're going up?
Yeah.
Okay,
and you'll see a big sign that says Soil.
Okay.
So it's like Soil as in dirt, but it stands for Source of Inspiration Learning. And that'll be August 14th from 5 to 7:30. That's a Sunday.
Now, was it very expensive, just getting this book published?
It was a bit expensive in the sense that I had to go out and get some sponsors to help with the publishing. But other than that, the publisher that I self-published, so is much cheaper that way. However, self-publishing can still be expensive in the sense that you have to pay for editing, you have to pay for the graphic design and so forth. But I'm thankful to have some of my teachers from high school and at USM who were willing to go over it. And help me with the proofreading and all that. And a friend of mine, Sean York, he did the graphic design, which I love a lot. I just want to show it again.
So you can
and it and what I love about it is the fact that it sends a strong enough message. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but I wanted people to judge a book by the cover. And I told him, well, hey, do your work. I know he's a great graphic designer. I said, well, the message I want the cover to send is one of empowerment, unity, revolution, and change. And you're basically seeing the trees with their arms stretching, looking like people, the roots going up and so forth. So the color, everything is just amazing.
But when you say revolution and change and color, that scares people off sometimes.
Sure, that scares people, but a revolution or just a radical change, because at the end of the path that we're on now, or our current condition needs change. Our people need change. They're demanding change, and the fact that elections is coming up this month. Basically, I wrote this book with the intention of elevating the level of discussion or interest of people on St. Martin, specifically young people, so that people could even change the way they vote, even and so forth.
Because a lot of young people, it's like they don't care, like they're not involved, conscious of what's going on politically.
Yeah, and for me, as always, I don't want to just put a blame on the education system, but it plays a major role because in other countries they learn about, say, the national heroes. Like, we learn the basic, the color of St. Martin flag, this and the sites and so forth, but more than that, for example, learning the Constitution, civic engagement and all of that, we don't learn in school. I know the Simon Academy now teaches civics, so having the students know like who's the Prime Minister and so forth, but it's kind of sad too, in the sense that even my sibling with one of her projects, my sister, she was like, who's the Prime Minister now? And I was like, oh God, and it's a shame because it's like, and I know a lot of children end up asking their parents that question, and they're like, oh God, well, there's a change in government, blah blah blah,
But could it be that the Prime Ministers change so fast that you can't keep up?
You can't keep up, but hey, Judgment Day is September 26th. I hope that we get the change that we deserve.
Because we've had 3 prime ministers now, right? Mm-hmm. We've had, 4 governments?
Five cabinets, yeah, 5 governments.
And it seems like this coming September 26th, it looks like it's like people are looking for like a funeral. I get the sense that the feeling, there's more sadness than joy. Years ago when
election was something to look forward to.
Not anymore. It's like a funeral.
Yeah, and basically one of the things my next project, it's called the Campaign to Change or Campaign of Change, which basically I'll be doing as much school tours as possible, especially for the 4th, 5th formers of the high schools, and trying to give them a real breakdown of our system, government, the importance of elections and so forth, but also through social media as well.
I understand you're traveling again. Now you're going to the biggest country in the world.
Yeah, Russia. We're traveling to Moscow. But before I begin, something I wanted to state was the fact that one of the things that drove me to writing a book too was the fact that the difficulty I had, while in high school and so forth, trying to get information on St. Martin. Although there were many books published, but we weren't aware of them. And we have a full spectrum of all that from Lasana, Aroda, Mr. Lake Jr., etc. But also the fact that I realize with my generation, my peers, etc., they tend to shy away from taking risk and so forth, because either with whatever fear that they have, and I realize that people tend to do something when they see somebody do something extraordinary. So it's like, okay, if he could do something like that, then probably I could go on and but sorry.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I'll be traveling to Russia, which will be, I think.
Wait, let me go back. Let me go back a piece because I was laughing about what you were saying. So then, people of your generation, how old are you?
Just made 21.
21, right? Are they aware of speaking of everything?
Some of them are, and they should be. Because once again, for example, like what we were talking before the program started, I wait for your videos on YouTube because to watch, because I always watch the show because I like to hear the discussions and so forth.
I mean, I'm way ahead. I was before you too, and this show started in 1984. And the thing about it is, I used to think that young people don't watch the show, but I was wrong. The other day I was somewhere and this young guy came over to me and he said to me, I hated you. He said, I hated you when I was growing up because we had to watch your show.
Yeah, your show is a mandatory viewing.
So he said, I went to Holland, I came back, and now I have a job, and I listen to you, and now I realize how important your show is to us as young people. And say, I was shocked.
It's very
That's why I asked you the question, if they do watch, but I know that many of them do watch.
Yeah, and of course they will know you because growing up, like I say, your show is basically mandatory viewing. So, and that's a good thing too. That's a very good thing too.
Yeah. But so now you're off to Russia.
Yes.
You're going to meet Putin?
Hopefully, I would like to meet him. Donald Trump's so-called friend. But when I was in France last year for the UNESCO Youth Forum, a friend of mine that I met there, who's studying in England, she told me that about this program that she went to in Russia. She was like, hey, this is perfect for you. Make sure you sign up. Checked it out. I was like, okay, this is indeed perfect for me. So I signed up. It's basically called the Russian School of Social Sciences and Economics. They had this Preparing Global Leaders Summit.
Okay.
So they basically look for young scholars around the world to attend this and give you training and workshops on diplomacy, foreign relations, public speaking, anything basically with the full political spectrum. And so I applied. They gave me the fee to apply. Actually, though, was quite expensive. It was $1,200, but they gave me a scholarship, $600, which was the most they ever gave, which I'm thankful for. And then Shell, the business arm of the University School of Lifelong Learning, Dr. Gittins, thank you. She sponsored the $600.
So you're going to Russia?
Yes.
And so how long are you going to be in Russia?
Basically, we'll be there for 9 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be other young people from other parts of the world.
Yeah,
there?
other parts of the world, and it's a great experience because at the end of the day, you know, you get to meet like-minded individuals and people who are doing a lot of great things and that further inspire. Because the first time I went away and represented Simon was in Jamaica, and from that? April 2015.
Oh, okay.
And from that experience, from seeing how those young people take it to another level when it comes to, you know, trying to make a change in their communities and the country, I decided from then on, okay, I got to work real hard to, you know, try to do my best to make a, you know, a dent in St. Martin.
Well, you know, the sad thing is that a lot of young people in St. Martin seems to don't really want to do much.
Probably.
I say I could be wrong.
In some ways, you have some young people who are still doing their own thing, which is great. One of my friends, I would like to give a shout out to Mr. Ardwell Iran. I mean, he, for example, he just hosted a big event, Fittest on the Rock. Basically, taking he decided, well, you know, after Carnival, there's really nothing big, and you know, he decided he wanted to host an event, and this year was the second year doing it, and basically, you know, what I like is when, you know, we take the initiative to do something. We are a bit complacent in some ways. You know, we tend to just wait to receive, and you know, somebody do something for us. But still, you still have a good amount of young people who will just take the bull by its horns and go out and do what they got to do.
Yeah, because you know we need to get more young people involved in Martin, and too many people are critical and saying, look, young people are not involved. Young people don't even want to get involved in politics because it carries such an ugly name. But I tell you, and I use this word because I heard it from a guy in the States on television that his grandmother always told him that you only clean the house from inside, you can't clean it from outside. Right. So you know, if young people don't get involved in the whole political process, they will be forever sitting down complaining about the politicians that are there, nothing will happen, nothing will change.
Correct. And what I realized at the end of the day, no matter how bad things are, complaining doesn't do anything. Yeah. You have to get up and make something and represent. Well, as an elected official, it's a noble thing, and it really is, and it's something I admire because, like, I love politics, but you know, and with these conferences and so forth, they speak a lot about youth engagement. So it's a matter of creating opportunities for young people that, you know, they can be, you know, engaged in making a difference in a community. But we have a lot of organizations, youth organizations on Island, who do their best to recruit young people. Like, hey, I started from Teen Times and just, you know, basically trailblaze from there. And
you're still with Teen Times?
Yes, I am. No longer a teen, but I'm, you know, a senior writer, basically. Yeah, it's, you know, it's great because it was my first love, you know, and the first opportunity, the first setting I was able to be myself in and grow. It helped me grow a lot, you know, as a young man, especially as a writer as well. So, and you know, big up to Michael Granger on that.
And what about some of the other colleagues that wasn't Teen Time? What are they doing now?
Oh, most of them, especially from when my age group came in, are now studying either in Holland or the US, and then you have the younger core. Most of them are fourth or fifth farmers, but all of them are very well active in the community as well.
And you went to the University of St. Martin, right?
I'm still at USM. Yes, I'll be graduating next year. That's right.
Oh, okay, all right. And so after that, you have any other big plans?
I have an idea for my next book, which I'm working. I have two ideas. I'm playing with them to see, you know, which one I'll basically go with. But I want to go to University of West Indies, which is the one in Jamaica. But I'll be going to
The Mona campus?
Yeah, the Mona campus. I mean, and you know what? I just want to mention, you know, when I tell people that, for example, you know, they're like, "Where you want to go to Jamaica for?" I'm like, you know, that school, like, okay, at least 6 current prime ministers in the Caribbean went to that school. So what are you trying to say? I mean, that's one of the best schools in the entire region,
It's not good,
and that can compete with.
It's not good. The school is not good. It's from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That's our mentality, because when it's from here, it's not good.
Yeah, and we have to get rid of that mentality. So many scholars, like people who I look up to, you know, they attend that school. But I'm also going to keep at the end of the year. I'm going to check out their universities too, because it's very cheap to study there as well. So
I always tell people, right, in today's world, if I was a young person and had to go back and study, and I was at the University of New York, I wouldn't be able to afford it today. And I probably will find myself somewhere maybe in the Dominican Republic or even the University of Puerto Rico in the region. So.
And they are very great. Dominican Republic, they have very good, great schools, not even good schools. University of Puerto Rico, a great school as well. I mean, even Dr. Rhoda Anderson, she got her doctorate from that university. And you know, at the end of the day, I mean, our region has produced so many great minds, you know, Nobel Prize recipients and so forth. So it's like, you know, you can't look down on what we have. And this is a matter of not being aware, you know, of what's available.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes even people who are intelligent and well-educated still think that if it's from the Caribbean, it's no good. And that's unfortunate. That's where you get that response when you tell them you want to go to the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. The response is very negative.
Yeah, and I have a friend of mine, I mean, like, I still keep in contact with the friends I make when I travel. And the friends I have there, one of them, he's the Guild President, which is like the student union president. Our next one, he now holds 2 of the top youth positions. He is the president of the Police Youth Club and also chairman of the National Youth Council. So, you know, it's like, you can't look down on what we have. We have a lot of brilliant people.
Yeah.
Even here too. And
in the region. I'm here speaking with Mr. Ralph Contav. Ralph gives live. Speaking of everything, is the longest running television talk show in the history of St. Martin. It started the 1st of March 1984. And Mr. Ralph Contav is now starting his first book in 2016.
Correct.
Wow. It's amazing, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing.
You ever heard about a guy named Lasana Sekou?
Oh, yeah.
I had him on this show 32 years ago. And the response was unbelievable. People didn't like it. Now look at Lasana today.
Lasana's an international star.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, just like that. I mean, when it comes to the way he writes is amazing. It's really invigorating. And I mean, you know, he has his books in universities all across the world.
Yeah, it's amazing the way he is.
From St. Martin, in case it.
He can tell you about that first program we did back in 1985. That's a long time. You wasn't even born yet.
The idea of me wasn't there yet.
So what else do you want to add before we go?
Well, basically, I want people to be aware that, you know, there's still a great number of books on the island. And one of the books that also inspired one of the pieces in the book was The Friendly Anger from Mr. Lake Jr.
Yeah.
And that's a book I find everybody should read, especially every single politician, mainly because if you haven't read that book, then you're not ready to serve people as Martin, in my opinion. And so at the end of the day, as a writer, you know, I spent a lot of times going through what was already written. So that helped me, you know, find my own path. And at the end of the day, my goal is just really and truly just to, you know, build myself, make a name for myself. Yes, that's important. But to inspire as many young people as possible. That's why one of the main things I do is that I always like to make sure go back to the schools. And like I said, I have the Campaign for Change, which is basically a school tour that I'll be doing with the book, you know, explaining our students about culture, politics, you know, the whole run around about St. Martin, because I never got an opportunity as a young student.
Well, now's the time to take advantage of everything you could, because you're not going to be young for long.
Nah, I got the energy and time. So,
all right, so
make the best out of it.
Again, your book will be launched when?
The book will be launched on August 14th at Soil. That's once again before the St. Martin Academy, before the Chic, and across on the right-hand side of the road. You'll see a big sign that says Soil too.
Can't miss it.
Yeah, August 14th from 5 to 7:30.
Well, Mr. Contav, I want to wish you much success on your first book, Words of Change.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right, and that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Till then, good night. Take care.